What's up, Night Owl? Still here back with another video, and today we're having a look at the Fathomless Warlock, which was actually the Lurker and the Deep Warlock in the Unearthed Arcana until they changed the name. So we're going to have a look at the changes that were made other than the name from the Unearthed Arcana to the released Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. Your Fathomless patron could either be from the depths of the ocean or it could be from the elemental plane of water. The book says that you have plunged into a pack with this patron. Entities of the deep that might empower a warlock include a kraken, sea hags, merfolk demigods, an ancient water elemental, or some Koatoa hallucination deities. To start with, the warlock has an expanded spell list, which includes lightning bolt and cone of cold. That's pretty good for a warlock to be getting back on a short rest. You also get summon elemental, but only water elementals, and you get Big Beast's hand, but it's tentacle themed. The water elemental and Big Beast's hand actually replace black tentacles and commune with nature on the Unearthed Arcana spell list, which in my opinion is an improvement. The first feature that you get at level 1 as a Fathomless Warlock is called Tentacles of the Deep, which was renamed from Grasp of the Deep in the Unearthed Arcana. This feature for the most part is unchanged from the Unearthed Arcana version, with the exception of lightning damage being removed from the tentacles damage type. Now it only does cold. Also, you only get a number of uses equal to your proficiency. In the Unearthed Arcana, you had a number of uses equal to your charisma modifier. So they changed it. That's just more of these subclasses using proficiency. There's still some that use the ability score modifier and then some that use proficiency. So this is one that used to use the charisma modifier in the Unearthed Arcana, and now it uses proficiency, and it only does cold. Those are the only two big changes. You still get the 1 minute of the tentacle swinging for a D8. You only get one you can only have one out at a time, and you can still move it. For the most part, it remains the same. The next level 1 feature is called Gift of the Sea, and this gives you a 40-foot swim speed, and it lets you breathe underwater. So this could come in handy depending on the campaign, if there's enough water around, or an ocean, lake, whatever. This could come in handy, but it could also be completely useless. This just depends on the setting. In the Unearthed Arcana version, you got these features at 6th level, among some other things, when you got Fathomless Soul, but these two were actually splintered off and given to you at 1st level. Also in the Unearthed Arcana version, you had Scion of the Deep, which lets you telepathically communicate with some creatures with a swim speed, but that was actually changed to the 6th level feature, Oceanic Soul, which gives you that resistance to cold, and it also says whenever you're fully submerged in water, you can communicate with any creature that is also fully submerged in water, and they can understand you and you can understand them. Also at 6th level, the Fathomless Warlock gets Guardian Coil, which lets them use their reaction to command their tentacle to reduce the damage done to a creature within 10 feet of the tentacle. This is different from the Unearthed Arcana because it doesn't have a limit on how many times you can use it. Also, the damage reduction is a D8, whereas in the Unearthed Arcana, it was half damage and then the tentacle disappeared. Now the tentacle doesn't disappear. It doesn't have a limit on how many times you can do it. As long as that tentacle is out, it's reducing damage done to any creature within 10 feet of it by a D8. This is a really good ability. The 10th level Fathomless feature is called Grasping Tentacles, and it essentially gives you Evert's Black Tentacles for free once per day or once per long rest. And when you use it, your patron gives you a couple of extra temporary hit points equal to your lock level, and you also concentration can't be broken on the spell with damage. This is way different from the Unearthed Arcana 10th level feature, which was Devouring Maw, which just summoned a big mouth that kind of chewed on creatures around it. And this was also once per long rest. They changed that. They just gave you black tentacles and the temporary hit points. The can't break concentration, and you can use this once per day. It doesn't spend a spell slot. It's free once per long rest. Something to note here, the spell is still not on your spell list. You just get to use it once per long rest. And the last subclass feature is called Fathomless Plunge, which lets you teleport you and 5 other creatures up to a mile away in a body of water that you've seen. You can do this once per short or long rests. That's pretty good, being able to do this on a short rest, but really a teleport with a destination restriction at 14th level. I keep thinking of this as like you're playing a Fathomless Warlock and say a sea campaign where you're like out on a boat, but you can't teleport the boat with you. So I guess if the boat sinks, you can teleport. I don't know. I don't get this 14. This is pretty weak. It is per short rest. You can essentially teleport a mile as long as there's water nearby. This is really niche. This is a very niche feature. Over at the Unearthed Arcana version, you had Unleashed Depths at 14th level, which had the option to either transport or bombard an area with tentacles from your patron. They just kind of popped up and just started attacking everything nearby, up to 5 creatures. And they got rid of that part and just gave you the transport feature. I don't know how I feel about that. The Fathomless Warlock is already really niche, really campaign specific. Like, there's not a whole lot you can do with this. My biggest gripe about this subclass is that it's tailored for a very specific campaign. And even in that campaign setting, let's say Saltmarsh, for example, even in that campaign setting, this subclass doesn't really stand out that well. I mean, it gives you some benefits that you could fill in with like a race choice, like you get a swim speed with a specific race. But this one, you can choose whatever race you want. But if you choose Fathomless, you can get that swim speed and underwater breathing, I guess, and some other underwater themed. I don't know. It doesn't, for being such a specific subclass, it doesn't really do much in that specific scenario. I mean, you can teleport for a mile away at 14th level. That's not that great. So with a 14th level party, could already probably teleport to begin with, and they could take stuff with them. I mean, not a whole ship, but I don't know. There's just this subclass doesn't do enough in its specific niche, and its niche is very, very narrow. There are some pretty strong things about this subclass. That expanded spell list is pretty strong. It's got Cone of Cold and Lightning Bolt on it, and also that Guardian Coil that lets you reduce damage with your reaction, a D8 with your tentacle. That's pretty good. So it's not just like, it's not a terrible subclass. I just really don't like that 14th level feature, and I also don't like that. I mean, anything that gives you underwater breathing and a swim speed is going to be really campaign specific, because not a lot of parties like getting into the water and swimming around, or even getting in a boat for that matter. So that's really campaign specific. But hey, that's just my opinion. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit those buttons, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think of the Fathomless Warlock and how you would build it. And if you want to be a part of this D&D community, make sure you join the Discord, link in the description. Come by, ask questions, let me know what you think. And as always, I'll see you at sundown.